Hello, hello. So good to see you all. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Wait for some more folks to come in, but we'll get started. Hi, my name's Edward Williams, and this is the show zero, as I like to call it, for music in games. This was a channel, well, not channel, but I had started this as a blog a little while ago, and I don't have much patience for blogs. I mean, I'm an okay writer, but you need to have a bit of patience to construct and write a blog. I'll still be doing that from time to time. But I thought, well, I wanted to get into game streaming and I wanted to find an interesting way to do it. And so I thought I'd try and construct a show around the same topic, mainly music in video games. I love thinking about that stuff, and I often listen to soundtracks live. I often do that. So I just wanted to see, like, hey, what can I do to make this work? What can I do to make this happen? And so here we are. Here's the show. I'm just going to take a quick look and get set up, see some people come in and make sure that I actually got sound going here. I ought to. All right. I've been streaming a little bit too. So I want to, oh yeah, there it is. You'll hear it. But also wanted to, I've been doing a little bit of streaming just to kind of practice. I've never really used this stuff in a main live setting before. Things like Streamlabs OBS. I've used it for other things, but other than that, that's sort of the main thrust of it. What's up, Highland Rim Gamer? Yeah, so what do you think? Is this a good choice or a bad choice? Everybody's really particular about microphones these days, so what do you think? I've used this mic for a long time, so I really enjoy it. I use it for studio recording. This is an SM7B. You probably see a lot of streamers and broadcasters use this particular mic. Mainly because it has pretty good frequency response no matter who you are. Oh, really? Yeah, you're using them too? I usually see either an RE20, which is made by Electro Voice, or a Shure SM7B. And they're both fantastic mics. I think the SM7B is a little better because you get it's more versatile, but it's not a condenser mic. You don't need phantom power for it. You can use it for whatever you want. The output's a little low, so you got to compensate for that. But I tend to love using these things when I need to do any broadcasting or any recording. So, but yeah, I wanted to start streaming. I wanted to put together a show and combine two things I really enjoy, music and video games. And so we're going to go through and we'll have a few segments and we'll see how it goes. Again, this is all pretty new to me. So I hope you like it. If you do, feel free to follow or subscribe. I've got a donate link up there if you want to throw in a few bucks too. That's cool. I don't mind that at all. Oh, thanks, Highland. Thanks, Highland Rim Gamer. I appreciate that. The way I solved it was I'm running everything through another computer in Logic, and I'm using a gain plugin to artificially boost the gain up a lot. So that seems to help a little bit. There are hardware devices you can use too, like there's a device called a Cloud Lifter, which is just a clean gain for microphones. There's another one too, I forget what the name of it is. It's a little cheaper. But if you have an SM7B and you want to do a clean gain boost, that's one of the things you can look at as a hardware situation. So the first thing we're going to take a look at now is the what I like to call a track of the show. Kind of make a play on words there. I often wonder how many of you are playing the game Toon Blast. I'm very late to the game. I'm late to the game. I decided to pick it up just because I needed a new match three. It looked fun, and there was a bazillion ads for it on on every mobile game for a long time. They finally wore me down, and I picked up the game, and I have to say I really enjoy it. But the most surprising thing about it was the music. The music in the game, there's only really three tracks that play, on each stage. But oddly enough, it's just something about it is just, it's kind of cute, it's kind of silly, much like the game. And so I think the tracks are a good fit. But the first one that plays is the one that I'm going to feature today in the track of the show. Not the one that you load up on when you start the game, but rather the very first one that plays when you start up a new game and you're starting a stage. The very first one that plays is the one that I'm going to feature today. So here we go. This is one of the tracks. This is the first gameplay track from Toon Blast. All right, there it goes. It's that's the first gameplay track from Toon Blast, and of course, as most video game tracks they will keep repeating ad nauseum until you stop it. So there you go. Isn't that cool? It's just, I don't know what it is about that track, but something about it is just really fun. I listen to it over and over and over and over again. And so naturally, I listened to it enough that I wanted to find out who wrote it, because there are two other tracks in that game, and they're actually pretty good too. But that first one just really stuck with me, and I wanted to know who wrote that track. So I did a little Google sleuthing, and a lot of people had, because this is a very popular game. And it turns out that people were able to find the composer. His name is Martin Goffman. And I believe he's French. It sounds like a French name to me. And he does a lot of stuff. He's represented by, some of his music is represented by Epidemic Sound, and they're a group that will play songs in YouTube placements and all kinds of other stuff. He took this song and redid it for Toon Blast, but I managed to find the original song. And so we're going to listen to that right now. So when you listen to it, notice the difference in how this song sounds versus the one that you just heard. All right, 1 second here. Let me switch my audio back. Audio switched back. Computer yells at me. Okay. So here's the original track that Toon Blast song came from. All right. So there you have it. That is called Jumping Cricket 2. That's by Martin Goffin. Or I don't know if it's French, it's probably Martin Goffin. And that is the original tune that the first Toon Blast gameplay song came from. And it's interesting to hear the differences. First of all, the Toon Blast version is in mono, mainly for older phones, I'm sure, that don't have stereo speakers, while this version is in stereo. And so it sounds like he had to re-record some parts that would make sense in stereo. For example, there's a call and response with the horns on the left-hand side in Jumping Cricket, but in Toon Blast, that was completely redone. And also, in Toon Blast, the bridge, or the second section, is very different. It's a lot shorter. The chords are totally different. The melody's totally different. Quite possibly to make it a little more compact for the game. And that way, because a lot of people may not even get to that point unless you're stuck on a level for a long time. And in the original version, it's probably it's a little louder. It doesn't fit. The bridge in his original version doesn't fit the tone of the rest of the song quite as much when you're thinking of it as a background song. So I think what the methodology was let's kind of even out the tone of the song and have a different bridge that fits the tone of the song and the energy level of the song, and also slow it down considerably. It's probably about 15 to 20% slower in the Toon Blast version. But that song just really got me. I really enjoyed it. I listened to it over and over again. And so that's the track of the show. You can find Toon Blast on, Google Play and Apple App Store. I'm going to have a show notes section on the website. The website is musicingames.online. And there I'll put in links to, where you can find the games, where you can find the soundtracks, or if they're available, or where you can find the composers and the credits for any music that we're doing in these shows, anything we're listening to. So, with that being said, we're going to move on and go to our feature, the gameplay. And today's gameplay is kind of a crazy game. It's a lightly popular game that I discovered at PAX 2008. It's called De Blob, and it was originally released for the Wii. And I got to play it, and it was really fun, but you couldn't hear any sound when you're playing something at a big conference like E3 or PAX or GDC or whatever. You just can't hear anything unless they give you headphones that are soundproof. So I knew I was going to get the game, and I got a Wii, and I got the game, and what surprised me the most was just the incredible soundtrack. Like, it blew me away, and I was dumbfounded. I'm like, wow, this soundtrack's incredible. So I decided that's what I would like to start with, kick off this inaugural show with some really cool, kind of funky, interesting, interactive music from the game De Blob. So here we go. Make sure this all starts up the way it should. So we'll get a little bit of backstory here through this intro video. All right. So this is De Blob. It's got just some really cool sounds, really cool soundtracks. As you can tell, it's the premise is these guys called the Gradients came in, and they're stealing all the color from the city, and there's a revolution. The Gradients are called Inked, and they are turn people into Gradients, and you have to save the city from the Inked. So you have to join this revolution and go through and make sure that you can save these people. The music's just great. All right, so we're gonna get started here. We're just gonna start at the beginning, and I'll highlight one. I'll try to get through a couple stages and highlight some of the tunes. We'll do funky. Try to do a little comic relief in here. It's sort of the prototype of the Minions if you look at it one way. This came out before Despicable Me. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? They act a lot like Minions. So at the start of this, we're going to go through the first city and get a sort of set up a base for the resistance against Inked. So they've got this kind of gibberish, mix of gibberish and Simlish, though it all is acted out because there are sections where they will say the words that are highlighted. So he says, inked, and it's like, it's really weird. It's like hearing an alternate language version. Yeah, it wasn't, this game, just to respond to Highland Rim Gamer, this game wasn't as popular. It wasn't a huge game on the Wii, but it apparently was enough of a success that they made a sequel. We'll probably do that one at some point too. But yeah, I really liked it, especially because the soundtrack's so great. So the main job of Blob is to paint. Yes, that's true. Actually, yeah. They did just release it, I believe, on Switch, PC, which is what I'm playing it on, and I believe Xbox and PS4. So I think they re-released it and they ported it over. So right now, of course, there's no color. It's just blah. And you have to get these colors from the paint bots and start just painting the town. So notice what happens right when I start painting. So that's the music starts. And it's really low key, very simple, sparse. I'll paint some more. Paper Mario Color Splash. Oh, I didn't. That was one I missed. What system was that for? right. Oh, the Wii U. That explains it. I didn't have a Wii U. Ah, that would explain a lot then. So these transform engines just allow you to paint a bunch of the area at once, really the ground, and it just gives you a bunch of points. Yeah, here's hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping to find some of those games that I didn't get to play on the Wii U, because I definitely have a Switch and I love that thing. Of course, since this is the first level, they got to explain everything to you, so make sure I know how to jump. Yeah, this game is cool. There are some frustrating things about it, but it's absolutely it's kind of a quirky, different, little fun game. Yeah, tutorial levels. It's just like, especially ones you can't really skip, like they build it into the game, can be kind of annoying. Hey, Linda. Linda on Facebook. Yeah, it's a lot less dangerous than Risk of Rain 2, that's for sure. It's a lot more fun. It's not, it's about as fun. It's just more fun-spirited, I guess I should say. Not quite as serious. So now notice, it's a little more colorful, the music's getting a little busier. And look over here, we've got another color here, yellow. So if I pound this guy, now I'm orange. And when I paint, the solo instrument has changed. It's not a saxophone like it was. This is now like a electric keyboard, like a Rhodes or a clavinet or something. Yeah, and there's like a little organ pad and switching more to the got a tambourine. So now we've got a double time feel, or I should say probably regular time feel before it was halftime. Another transform engine. So when you get enough points, you can unlock a gate to the next area and progress through the stage. Solo. There we go. get the gradients so you can put color back into them and they become radiants, I think is what they're called. Move on to the next section. So when you hit the water, it clears your color, which is useful if you want to do a particular color. It's a little synth. Yeah, actually, there's a benefit if you paint a certain block with multiple colors. The more colors you paint a block, and if you complete a block with like more than one color, you get bonus points. If you do it with just one color, you'll get bonus too, but you'll get a bigger bonus if you complete a block with more color, with different colors. So notice too, when we move to this new section, the music drops down a bit again. So do one of these challenges here. So see, notice in this case, I've got to paint this block different colors. So the yellow, blue, blue, and then green. Whoop. Let's see, did I get any? No. Some of these are a little tough to get to because the jumping mechanic is a little strange in this game. I think they imagined this character as sort of a paint roller, so when you jump to the sides of buildings, he tends to just get stuck along them, which makes jumping a little difficult, like this. So the jumping mechanic is a little weird to get used to, but and here's how to use the camera, which I've been doing the whole time. Okay, here we go. Yellow. Sometimes as the game progresses, it gets a little tougher. The toughest part really is just trying to paint the right buildings the right color, which can be tough given how the blob controls. There's the next gate. But it's a really fun mechanic that you can sort of just, like, you're soloing. It's like you're playing along with the music. It's really fun. Let's see. So with the landmarks, you can just jump in and start throwing paint in there. There's a little shaker. They're mostly just challenges to get you points, get you some extra points. It's not a overly difficult game, which is fine because again, it's kind of lighthearted. The music's really cool, so you can kind of just play around and enjoy it. There's also a free paint section where you can just paint and not worry about the time, or worry about dying all that much, really. I've rarely gotten a game over, though. So now we're heading into the industrial area. At least I think that's what this is. Oh yeah, extra lives. I'll have a bazillion of those because it's a pretty easy game. This is where they introduce a lot of interesting challenges, though. If they will start to place buildings you need to paint around ink, and ink will drain your paint points or your life meter in a sense much faster than water will or painting will. So it gets that can get a little challenging, mostly because of the jumping mechanics. So if you get inked, like so, it changes, and you gotta wash it off. And it also, if you get inked, it resets the groove, so it slows back down to whatever it is, basically puts it back to the first level of intensity. So you gotta build it back up. So blue is just a regular electric guitar, which is pretty sweet. In this stage, it does depend on the song you pick. That can define what instruments are there. But they're usually the same for the most part. I think yellow is the one that changes the most. And there is also one more color. There's brown, which is a record scratch. Like DJ stuff. Turntable. Oh. I just got it back too. That was close. All right, This is the exit gate. When it's slower, you tend to notice the repetitiveness of a lot of them. But they're still great. Yeah, it's a really fun mechanic. It's just, especially because in a lot of the songs, at least the songs that I've found, there's usually a breakdown section. So you can just, like if you have a block of unpainted area, you wait for that breakdown and you can just put in, do your own solo, which is just really fun. What do we need? Yellow. Oh yeah, I gotta. All right. Yellow paint. Okay, so I need yellow. I need 50 yellow points. Ah. Ooh. Let me get a little more. So I'm sure I'd probably just run out and then die, and that would not be fun. Nice. Take it to the man. Do this transform. And that stage is done. So I'll do one more stage. I'll do the next stage, and I'll pick think about the song I want to do. Yeah, I'll do this one. This is a good one. Sure, we've all felt like that at work, one time or another. So now this stage will introduce some combat and a couple of other mechanics, I believe. I think this one has the Z jumps. I'm trying to remember. How to fight. Yeah, okay. Yeah, these are bad guys. They'll steal your paint points. You can, or they'll ink you is what they'll do if they happen to get you. So you just gotta target them and smash them. That's it. But so they're starting to introduce some combat now. So there we go. I like the guitar stuff. This guitar player is pretty good. And the bass player. I'm a bass player mainly, so it's kind of cool to hear some really good bass work. Boats. All right. This is like a point booster, the little color wheel thing. Oh, jeez. See, the jumping is a little weird in this game. No. Oh, so close. Uptown. All right. Let's color. So now the purple is a wah guitar in this case. Keyboard shifted to orange. The organ on yellow. It's fairly smooth blend from one style to another. They just kind of fade it in. Solo. See, so there's a little, you can do your little solos right there. Rhodes, it's a Fender Rhodes there on green. bad at mixing colors on these blocks. Yeah, we gotta do that more. They were really creative with this from the music standpoint. Especially, yeah, considering it was the Wii era. And it looked pretty good on the Wii, you know. I think I had a component cables for it at the time, and it looked pretty cool even then. But they did a pretty good job on the port to PC. I already did your quest, sir. And I think the music is really well recorded in this game too. I think whatever they did, they spent a lot of time getting it right. It sounds like. It's got like a nice fat kick drum, really smooth bass, just great tone balance, really well done. I had the same feeling about Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii. The music on there is just fantastically recorded. Hoping to do that at some point. Tell it's the little riffs that fire off when you paint are positional. So if you turn the camera when you fire one, it moves with the camera to your left or right speaker. If you're listening on speakers or headphones, you can tell. Yeah, me too. I love Galaxy's music. In my opinion, that took a good game or a great game in Mario Galaxy and made it an excellent game. Yeah, no worries. There we go. There's a 3-color. This is a race. Well, sort of a race. You race against the clock. I totally agree, Highland. I love the game City Skylines because I like city builders, and I really like that game. But the music is just so bad in it. I don't like it at all. It just grates on my nerve. I have to turn it off whenever I play it. But it's such a fun game. I just have to play it without the music. But that's just my opinion, you know. Everybody's got their opinions on music, and nobody's right or wrong. It's just, it can make a big difference. So I think there are some soundtracks that are universally like, yeah, this was really good, or this is really bad. And this game, this isn't the soundtrack you would expect to go with this game. That's the main thing about this game. I was not expecting this soundtrack at all. killing the propaganda tower. That'd be nice. No, that's true. That's the ironically enough, the music for Toon Blast you would expect to be in a game like this, but they went total just like funk, all the way, which is amazing. I almost planned it out. I've been planning it out for a while now, so I'm just hoping everything works out. Yeah, I agree. You just kind of highlight stuff. Squiggles are just paint patterns, so you can collect them. It's a collectible throughout the game. I don't notice much of a difference in them. I didn't pay that close attention to it, honestly. So go to the next section. Statue of Inky. So this is where they introduce the Z jump things, and of course that's a holdover from the Wii game, which had a Z trigger in it. Yeah, it does have some GTA 3 vibes. Yeah, for sure. A little bit of GTA, a little bit of Saints Row. These Z jumps are interesting because they have they're the only point where you kind of do a drum solo fill thing. Billboards. Teach me how to use the Z jumps. Oh! The sticky mechanic he has just really... that's the main thing that'll screw you over in this game, is when you jump and he just sticks on a wall. When you jump off of a wall, he just rockets off of it. this area. Oh, there they are. Some record scratch. There's even some vocal in there. Sneaky stuff. There we go. Next section. I'm not going for a lot of score trophies or anything here, really. Just kind of the music's the important thing. There it is. Leech bots. Jeez. They will take the color out of you. But they're, well, all the combat in this game is pretty easy. Ah, 3 different. So this one needs 3 different colors. Red, blue, and yellow. Green is not one of them. All right. There we go. Yellow. I need more paint, though. Need more paint energy. Let's see. Red. Do our red. And then yellow. There's yellow. Oops. I need to do that again. Yellow again. There we go. Now. Here's the thing. There it is. Whoa, it's a cool stage with a guitar. Did it? And done. Revolution over. Nah, I don't think bronze medal. That's all right. Cool. So that's Dave Blob. I know the the horns in this are so good. That horn section, holy cow! I just want to highlight for a second on this particular game. So all right. So that particular composer was John Guscott. I'm going to put all this information in the show notes as well, and I've got information on the total credits, who played what. I'll throw that in the show notes as well. But that was Dave Blob. And that's such a cool game. It's a really neat, just kind of, I don't know. It's a little weird game from a weird console. The Wii was a weird console, and so you got interesting things like Dave Blob, and I believe Okami was the first on Wii as well. That was, things like Okami, things like Wii Sports, like Dave Blob. You got some of these quirky, interesting games out of that console, which was really cool. And so I'm really glad that they re-released it, because I had missed this game for so long because I didn't have a Wii anymore. And so I'm really happy they re-released it, and I was able to share the music with you. I'll probably do the sequel at some point as well. But before we go, I wanted to end the show with a little performance. And I'm going to try to do this each show with songs that I particularly like and or know or learn. So I'll try to learn the songs I want to do and perform them for you. But this one is one of my favorites from gaming history. And this is Zelda's Lullaby. Capo here. Oh, sorry, I screwed that up. There we go. that is the end of the show. Thanks to everybody who dropped in and said hi, shared a kind word, and shared some gaming memories of their own. It's really fun to talk games with people and share this with people who either know about games or don't. Everybody's got a little gaming knowledge, which is really cool. And everybody can share and everybody can contribute. And music is one of the ways, like, doesn't matter how good you are at a game, like, music in the games you can really still hopefully relate to. Everybody can kind of relate to music. So I want to thank you guys for joining. The next show is on the schedule. If you go to facebook.com/music in games online, that is where the main schedule is going to be. I've got Nuclear Throne coming up next. I believe that's on the 21st of January. Awesome game. I'm doing Civ 6 after that. Another awesome game with some really cool sounds, music, and everything in it. So I want to thank you all. Please follow, subscribe. If you like what you see, throw a few bucks in, or just say hi and share a kind word. And I will see you next time.